The performance standards require IFC clients to consider the relevant risks and impacts associated with a changing climate and related adaptation and resilience opportunities for projects as a cross-cutting issue. As part of E&S project review, the physical risks of a changing climate are assessed and managed as part of potential E&S risks and impacts to the project's affected communities, workers, ecosystems, and ecosystem services as part of the performance standards. Let us examine the activities undertaken by the CES E&S Climate Team for DI projects. The CES E&S Climate Team works with the lead environmental and social specialist to conduct environmental and social climate risk assessment that encompass the following. 1. Identifying and assessing climate-related impacts on the projects through the lens of IFC's 8 performance standards. 2. Proposing adaptation actions which, while enhancing project resilience against climate change impact, can address physical climate E&S risks and mitigate potential E&S impacts, and include recommendations on post-investment period risks and opportunities. The LES, or Lead Environmental and Social Specialist, is responsible for advancing the various steps related to the E&S physical climate risk assessment, with support from the Climate E&S Team assigned to the project. This analysis occurs at the following stages of the project cycle. 1. Pre-appraisal stage, post-CRM screening and documentation of the potential for E&S underperformance of the project due to climate impact, if any, and preparing climate E&S risk questions for appraisal. 2. Post-appraisal stage, reviewing climate-related assessment documents and client responses, documenting physical climate E&S risk assessment, risk mitigations, and residual climate E&S risks. Now let's focus on the initial phase of E&S climate screening, the pre-appraisal stage. The initial phase of physical climate E&S risk screening entails identifying potential climate risks and issues based on the project's defined location and sector. Once assigned, the LES coordinates with the Climate E&S Team for the risk screening task, resulting in the following steps and outputs. 1. The LES provides the Climate E&S Team with the project location, PDS concept note, and, if available, tentative appraisal dates to conduct the physical climate E&S risk screening pre-appraisal. 2. The Climate E&S Team assesses available data and evaluates the project's location and sector to conduct an initial high-level screening of physical climate E&S risks and impacts, including a description of the project's location and climate patterns, an analysis of the impact of climate change on the project's E&S aspects. 3. The Climate E&S Team member provides the LES with the completed document, including the Climate E&S Risk Assessment and the E&S Climate Questionnaire to be used during appraisal. The LES shares the questionnaire with the client and uploads the assessment to ESG docs. The post-appraisal stage. Following the appraisal and preparing for IRM, the Climate E&S Team assesses the potential E&S climate risks and evaluates the project's adaptation measures. The process encompasses 7 steps and outcomes. 1. The LES provides the Climate E&S Team with the client's answers to the E&S Climate Risk Questionnaire promptly after appraisal and with adequate lead time before IRM. 2. Utilizing appraisal data, including responses from the client's E&S Climate Risk Questionnaire, environmental and social assessment documents, along with other E&S due diligence, the Climate E&S Team evaluates the project's adaptation measures. 3. The Climate E&S Team member completes the Climate E&S Risk Assessment Report document and submits it to the LES. The LES then reviews the report and contacts the Climate E&S Team for any necessary comments or clarifications. 4. The LES then reviews the report and may contact the CRC for any necessary comments or clarifications. 5. If applicable, the LES includes relevant action items in the proposed Environmental and Social Action Plan to close gaps with the PSs to be agreed with the client and consulting as needed with the Climate E&S Team. 6. Once finalized, the LES shares the Climate E&S Risk Assessment Report for inclusion in the IRM book with the investment team, copying CBD and the Climate E&S Team. And 7. The Climate E&S Team files the Climate E&S Risk Assessment Report in the project file in ESG docs. In addition to assessment of relevant risks and impacts associated with a changing climate and associated adaptation, Performance Standard 3 requires the client to consider measures to improve energy efficiency and other technically and financially feasible options to mitigate and reduce project-related greenhouse gas emissions through mitigation measures. This mitigation of GHG emissions is handled by the lead environmental and social specialist. The World Bank Group has committed to align its activities and financial activities with the goals of the Paris Agreement. To achieve this, MDBs, including the World Bank Group, have collaboratively devised a 6-building block approach. This approach outlines key focus areas for aligning their operations with the objectives of the Paris Agreement. This is what is known as Paris alignment. An operation needs to be aligned with both mitigation, BB1, and adaptation and resilience, BB2, parts of the framework to be considered Paris-aligned. BB1 assesses if an operation aligns with a low GHG development trajectory for its country without undermining the transition to a decarbonized economy, both domestically and globally. BB2 evaluates if an operation effectively manages physical climate change risks, aligns with the country's adaptation and climate resilience strategies, and leverages activities to foster climate-resilient development pathways. The Climate E&S analysis contributes to IFC's institutional commitment to the Paris Alignment Framework. By following the outlined assessment steps, we can effectively identify and mitigate climate-related E&S risks, supporting clients to meet their requirements under the PSs, while contributing to PA commitment by IFC. This comprehensive approach ensures that the IFC and its partners address climate risks in line with the IFC performance standards and support IFC's commitment to Paris alignment.